So one of the things I'm always looking at is what is the next big film to come out from one of these festivals. There's always that one that's going to stand out and have the audience and the crowd like, oh, this is cool. This is going to be big. This is going to get the push theatrically on a streaming service. This is going to be the one people watch. There was one that came out, I think it was Sundance was the one I saw this at. A lot of buzz about it. They said it was kind of cool at the beginning, takes a big turn in the second half of the film, and it kind of just has the vibe of stuff you've seen before. That film was Fresh. Now, Fresh immediately got picked up. It went to Hulu, and you can watch it on Disney Plus in Canada. That's where I'm watching it. And just from the get-go, it's weird to see this kind of film on Disney. I know they're pivoting to more adult content because they realize, adults are paying for the service. But this film is very fascinating. I don't think it's brilliant. I don't think it needs to be brilliant, but I did enjoy myself watching it. I thought the plot, I'm not going to talk about like the big reveal or the big spoiler for anything just because it's one of those things you have to watch for yourself. It's like when you go into this without knowing, it makes the experience more enriching because you think at first, oh, this is just a girl who, doesn't like the online dating scene, doesn't really like doing like the meet cute stuff, and suddenly she meets this nice guy, and you think it's gonna be like this cool romantic comedy with a popular guy like Sebastian Stan. It's gonna be a really nice film. It takes a detour from that. I won't say anything else about that detour. All I will say actually is that it's surprisingly about food, which I don't think I was expecting it to be about food. There's this really interesting idea about just pairing certain foods with certain types of meat and cutlery and all that stuff. And it's very fascinating in that aspect to see like the culinary visual side of things. Like that's a really cool just area to explore. And that was kind of cool. But I think the best part of this film, without getting too in depth, is just how good the camera work is, because it takes a premise that we've seen a meet cute a million times. You know exactly how these are going to go, and it plays with it in a really fascinating way of beautiful camera work, just beautiful cinematography, and makes it kind of special. It does have this certain level of cliche to it, which I get it. When you are doing something in any genre that is like this, whatever genre it does eventually become, I will say it's a little more towards on the psychological thriller side. When you do get to those stuff, there are tropes in there. And the tropes aren't a bad thing. You have to have the tropes in order to get the product where you need it to be. So in that aspect, I think it works fine. It does kind of just fall flat in certain moments, and the acting isn't always the best. But I will say, I was impressed with the way people delivered their performances. Sebastian Stan, I think, is just showing that he likes to work. And that's a cool thing to see, because when you're an actor, you want to work. And this guy, he got popular because of the Marvel stuff, and he's really just said, I like being an actor. I'm going to take different choices that not everybody would peg me in because I want to escape having my name just be Bucky. He's doing a great job as that. And him in this movie, as Steve, is just so creepy and weird. The way he presents himself is just the perfect amount of charming, sleazy guy that you've seen a million times with literally psychological damaging creep. And it's just an incredible performance he's giving. I think what makes him so good at doing like the Ted Bundy thing is the smiles that he gives, because they don't look sincere. And there's people who can smile where it's obviously like fake, and there's people that can smile where it's like there is so much behind that smile, and he just delivers that perfectly. But I think what really surprised me was this, I don't want to say up-and-comer, but she's kind of an up-and-comer, Daisy Edgar Jones. I've never seen her in anything. She delivers a great performance. She is doing some solid character work. She is building herself up as this certain type of woman that you've seen in any rom-com. She doesn't like seeing these average men. Everybody she meets online is a terrible person. The underlying theme of this film is just pretty much men are bad. And yeah, men are bad. Men online in particular on a dating service, they're bad. I get it. That makes sense to me. Like, that wasn't the problem I had with this issue. Okay, let's go on this tangent for a second. I could see certain men in the audience who watch this film being upset with the way that the male characters are presented. But you know what? That's the point. The point is people can put on a smile and then become something else altogether. That's literally the point of this. Everybody looks good online. Everybody looks good when you first meet them. When you get to know somebody, that's when shit hits the fan. So that I get, and that's a really cool thing to see. But yeah, Daisy is solid. She knows exactly how to move her body properly. She knows exactly how to smile. I would say there's a level of Dakota Johnson kind of meets Emma Stone to her, where it's like you can be this type of confident and sarcastic, but you are still like in command and a little bit neurotic in a different way. So I think this one's going to have a big career. Same with Mimi Cave. And yes, she's done a bunch of other work, but don't be surprised if you see that name popping up on a bigger project or something, because just the way they know how to move the camera, that's going to go far and you're going to get a lot more opportunities. I feel like this is going to get a pretty decent, maybe not following, but enough people watching it where the cast and crew are going to get bigger opportunities, maybe more money to do another film like this, because I would watch more of things in this world. It's just so bizarre the way it just presents itself and how it just switches genres and switches themes so quickly. And it works for the most part. I don't think it's perfect in every aspect. There are a lot of cliche stuff, like I said. Clearly an homage to Get Out at some points with a certain type of character. Like, I will say there's a best friend that does represent like Lil Rel's character in Get Out. And it's not as good as Get Out, but it still works. It still has its purpose in this story. You are following these two people who shouldn't love each other, kind of love each other, and have this weird socio-political connection. It's just really disturbing and off-putting at times. I think it's pretty cool and exciting. And there's a lot of stuff I don't want to talk about because I do think people should go into this not knowing. All I'm going to say is you're going to think it's one thing and then it's going to become something else. And when it becomes that thing, you think it's going to stay that thing, but then it becomes something else that's a little more weird. And you're like, why are we doing this part of it? And then it kind of goes a step further than that to this weird kind of angle with a dude. And you're like, what is happening? And then it just becomes something else at the very end. There's a lot of layers to this. There's a lot of interesting choices about masculinity in this, but overall, I think Fresh is an interesting piece that I encourage people to check out because I don't think it's going to be what people are expecting, and that's always cool. That's a cool way to just to present yourself as being different with the familiar beats. People like that. It could work for you. To me, it wasn't the best, but I would watch it again, and it's one of those ones that if you know the reveal and you watch it with other people that don't, it's going to be a fun watch that way. So Fresh, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.